Hello and a very good evening. You're watching the news at 6 on Rajya Sabha television with me, Frank Pereira. Here are the headlines. For the first time in 13 years, international rating agency Moodys upgrades India's credit rating from Baa3 to Baa2. Finance Minister Arun Jaitley calls the jump in ratings a recognition of the Modi government's reforms. BJP releases first list of 70 candidates for Gujarat elections. List includes 49 sitting MLAs and 5 Congress rebels. 16 fresh faces also to be in the fray. National Green Tribunal lifts its ban on construction activities in Delhi NCR, asks neighbouring states to submit action plan to curb pollution within 2 weeks. And India in trouble in the first test between India and Sri Lanka at Kolkata's Eden Gardens. Rain washes out play for the second day in a row with the team's score at 74 for 5. International rating agency Moodys upgraded India's credit rating from Baa3 to Baa2. The agency has also changed India's outlook from positive to stable. Finance Minister Arun Jaitley welcomed the jump in ratings, calling it a recognition of the Modi government's reforms.
After close to 13 years, the US-based rating agency Moodys has upgraded India's sovereign credit rating Baa2 from the earlier Baa3. Taking note of the reforms by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, the agency changed India's outlook to stable from positive. It said that economic and institutional reforms will foster substantial growth and help stabilize rising levels of debt. Praising the goods and service tax regime and demonetization, it said that these reforms will promote productivity by removing barriers in interstate trade, improvements to the monetary policy framework, measures to address the overhang of non-performing loans in the banking system, and those like demonetization, the Aadhaar system of biometric accounts, and targeted delivery of benefits through the direct benefit transfer system are intended to reduce informality in the economy. Responding to the statement, Finance Minister Arun Jaitley said the jump in ratings is a belated recognition of reforms in the last few years. He also pledged to continue the reforms while maintaining fiscal discipline.
Obviously, it is a recognition and an endorsement of the reform process which has gone on in India, particularly in the last 3 to 4 years, where a number of structural reforms have taken place.
Policy panel Niti Aayog said the new rating will reinstill confidence of foreign investors in Indian economy. Chief Economic Advisor in the Finance Ministry, Arvind Subramanian, said the new rating was long overdue. He also hoped other agencies will follow suit.
I think we also need to keep all these things in perspective. I think the government is going to do what it has to do on the domestic front, employment growth, economic growth, reviving investment and so on. And as for what the other investment ratings agencies will do, I had said that the rating agencies were not being consistent between India and China. Let's hope they're not inconsistent amongst each other.
Moodys is expecting India's GDP growth to moderate to 6.7% in the fiscal year ending in March 2018 and improve further to 7.5% in the next fiscal. It also said that in the long term, India's growth potential is significantly higher than most of the BAA rated nations. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, equity benchmarks rallied sharply after Moodys upgraded India's sovereign rating. The 30-share BSE Sensex was up 235.98 points or 0.71% at 33,342.80, and the 50-share NSE Nifty gained 68.80 points or 0.67% at 10,283.60. About 1,590 shares advanced against 1,149 declining shares on the Bombay Stock Exchange on Friday. The benchmark 10-year bond yield dropped as much as 12 basis points, while the rupee rose to as high as 64.60 against the dollar from its close of 65.32 on Thursday. Well, Moody's credit ratings have come just a day after another US-based survey company, Pew, said that Prime Minister Modi's approval ratings among Indians has increased continuously. The company said that in 2017, 9 out of the 10 Indians expressed favourable views about Prime Minister Modi, a remarkable jump from 7 out of 10 favourable views in 2015. The survey says that demonetization only cemented Prime Minister Modi's popularity. Our correspondent Akhilesh Suman spoke to Bruce Stokes, the director of Washington-based Pew Research Center. Here's what he had to say.
What is the most important thing of your survey?
Well, I think there's a number of striking findings. One is the continued strong favorability of the Prime Minister. 88% of the public have a favorable view of the Prime Minister 3 years into his 5-year tenure. Secondly, that there is an increasing belief that the direction of the country is going in the right direction. 70% say that now. That people feel better and better about the economy. Now, we did the survey before the recent dip in the economy. That may explain some of it, but
you have done this survey after 1 year after demonetization. So what was the feeling about demonetization among the people?
Well, we asked people about was the availability of cash for daily use a problem in the country. And while 45% said yes, that was actually a relatively low level of concern compared to concerns about corruption or crime or terrorism.
So what they wanted about Pakistan?
Well, it's interesting. The unfavorability of Pakistan has gone up in our survey in terms of the public's unfavorable view has gone up. 6 in 10 say that they want the military to be tougher in Kashmir.
So what was the biggest worry of Indians about?
Well, their biggest concern internationally was ISIS terrorism.
You think that this survey was enough because people are saying that sample size was very small?
Well, that's a good question. We are very proud of our methodology. We think that, contrary to what might think, you don't need to have a big sample size to get an accurate survey. What you need is the right methodology.
Well, Prime Minister Narendra Modi reviewed the progress of key infrastructure sectors on Thursday. An official statement released on Friday named sectors like coal, power, housing and the Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana that were reviewed in the meeting. The Prime Minister called for renewed efforts towards underground mining and coal gasification through the infusion of latest technology inputs. He also called for a detailed analysis of the complaints received from the Meri Sadak app. The Prime Minister expressed hope that the advancement of the date of the Union Budget will lead to further improvement in performance in these sectors. Well, the BJP released its first list of 70 candidates for the Gujarat elections. The list includes 49 sitting MLAs and 5 Congress rebels. 16 fresh faces have also been included. Chief Minister Vijay Rupani was named the party candidate from Rajkot West, while Deputy Chief Minister Nitin Patel will contest from Mehsana. State Party President Jitubai Wagani was given a ticket from Bhavnagar West. Of the 70 names, 17 are Patels, 18 OBCs, 3 SCs and 11 STs. The names were finalized by BJP Central Election Committee, which met on Wednesday, chaired by BJP National President Amit Shah. The meeting was attended by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Home Minister Rajnath Singh and Minister of External Affairs Sushma Swaraj. Elections for the 182-member Gujarat Assembly will be held in 2 phases on December 9th and 14th. Well, the Election Commission rejected rebel JDU leader Sharad Yadav faction's claim on the party's election symbol and recognized Nitish Kumar-led group as real JDU. The Commission also entitled the faction to use the party's arrow symbol. The EC said that the group led by Nitish Kumar demonstrated overwhelming majority support in the legislature wing as well as the National Council of the party, which is the apex organizational body of the JDU. Well, the National Green Tribunal on Friday lifted its ban on construction activities in Delhi NCR. It also directed Delhi government to ensure that only CNG vehicles will get exemption stickers in the odd-even scheme whenever it is applied. The NGT permitted trucks to enter Delhi while directing neighbouring states to submit an action plan on curbing pollution within 2 weeks. But the Green Panel refused to lift the ban on industrial activities causing pollution in the region. It also directed the Delhi government to make a policy to close schools whenever pollution levels are high. Well, French Foreign Minister Jean-Yves Le Drian, who is on a 3-day visit to India, met Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his Indian counterpart Sushma Swaraj on Friday. During their meeting, both foreign ministers expressed grave concern over growing terrorism and agreed to enhance counter-terror cooperation. They also vowed to increase cooperation in the Asia-Pacific region. The French minister's visit is seen as a precursor to the visit of French President Emmanuel Macron sometime early next year.
External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj held extensive talks with French Foreign Minister Jean-Yves Le Drian. Cross-border terrorism was one of the major issues that was discussed. The leader appealed to other nations to oppose sheltering of terrorism.
हमने विश्व में बढ़ते हुए आतंकवाद पर गहरी चिंता व्यक्त करते हुए ये तय किया कि दोनों देशों को एक साथ मिलकर इस बुराई को हटाने का संकल्प लेना है और विश्व के सभी देशों से हमने अपील की कि वो आतंकवाद को धन देने वाले, उनको शरण देने वाले और उन्हें समर्थन देने वाले देशों का एकजुट होकर विरोध करें.
Both countries decided to increase defense cooperation. They also agreed to cooperate in manufacturing and technology sectors. They'll also intensify the cooperation on climate change, especially at a time when the United States has pulled out of the Paris Agreement.
भारत फ्रांस रक्षा सहयोग बहुत ही मजबूती से आगे बढ़ रहा है, जिसमें संस्थागत संपर्क, संयुक्त सैन्य अभ्यास, अधिग्रहण, प्रशिक्षण और रिसर्च एंड डेवलपमेंट शामिल हैं. हमारे बीच टेक्नोलॉजी एंड मैन्युफैक्चरिंग पार्टनरशिप को गहन बनाने और साथ ही भारत फ्रांस मिलिट्री लॉजिस्टिक्स कोऑर्डिनेशन को मजबूत करने की जरूरत पर भी सहमति हुई है.
They wish that the state visit of President Macron coincides with the first summit of the International Solar Alliance here in Delhi. This is very positive and it will enable us to enhance the attractiveness of this international organization, which will play a very crucial role in helping developing countries to gain access to sustainable energy at lower costs.
Both countries also decided to start work on the Jaitapur nuclear power plant as soon as possible. India and France will hold the first summit on International Solar Alliance. That is one of the major milestones of cooperation between the two countries. India has made its first huge order for fighter aircraft from France to buy 36 Rafale fighter jets and also Scorpion submarines. To increase the atmosphere of cooperation between India and France, both countries will organize Bonjour India celebration in 33 Indian cities next year. The French Foreign Minister also met with Prime Minister Narendra Modi to apprise him of the latest developments. Akhilesh Suman's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Microsoft Chairman Bill Gates today met Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath in Lucknow. The founder of the Bill Gates Melinda Gates Foundation told the Chief Minister that he was already monitoring vector-borne diseases with Indian Council of Medical Research. The UP Chief Minister briefed Gates about the state government's efforts to eliminate encephalitis and other vector-borne diseases. He also informed Gates that the UP government recently organized a program in which over 92 lakh children were vaccinated. The discussions also focused on the complete eradication of filariasis, on which the state government and the Gates Foundation have signed a 5-year MOU. Several state dignitaries were also present at the meeting. Time for a short break now, but news and updates will continue on the other side. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
I think we safeguard India's biodiversity.
In terms of microbial?
In terms of, because we preserve them, we distribute them. We have almost 30,000 strains of different pathogens. No drug in the last 45 years for treatment of tuberculosis. So as a part of the team, we were able to discover a new molecule called Bedaclin. It's the first drug to be discovered in the last 45 years. Treatment of multi-drug resistant.
Watch Eureka with Dr. Anil Kaul, Director at CSIR, Institute of Microbial Technology, Chandigarh, only on Rajya Sabha television.
Enter the majestic forecourt of Rashtrapati Bhavan and you'll come across the Jaipur column. A gift to the Viceroy from Savai Madho Singh, the Maharaja of Jaipur, to commemorate the creation of the new capital. The 145-meter high column is crowned with 6 pointed crystal stars on a bronze lotus, and inside the stone shaft runs a steel tube which weighs a little more than 5 tons. The base of the column has text conceived by Lord Irwin and Sir Edwin Lutyens inscribed on it.
Welcome back. You're watching Rajya Sabha television. Well, the Pakistani army once again violated the ceasefire along the line of control in Poonch district of Jammu and Kashmir for the third day in a row. Pakistani Rangers fired mortar shells, small arms and automatic weapons. An army jawan was injured as the Indian troops retaliated. In another ceasefire violation, Pakistani troops fired on forward posts along the LOC in the Khur belt of Akhnur sector on Thursday night. On Wednesday, Pakistani troops violated the ceasefire along the line of control in the Poonch sector. The constant shelling forced schools to be shut along the line of control. Both government and private institutions were also closed.
सीज़फायर का उल्लंघन करना ये छेड़खानी है। छेड़खानी कमजोरी का प्रमाण है। जवाब दे रहे हैं हमारे जवान सब। इनका सीज़फायर का उल्लंघन चलता रहेगा और हम लोग जवाब देते रहेंगे। और मुझे विश्वास है कि देश की सेना सुरक्षा बलों के द्वारा जो साहस के साथ में मुकाबला कर रहे हैं, एक न एक दिन पाकिस्तान के द्वारा हो रही सीज़फायर का उल्लंघन रुक जाएगा।
Well, news about the film Padmavati now. Rajput organizations escalated their protests ahead of the film's release on December 1st today. Fringe groups even threatened to cause physical harm to lead actor Deepika Padukone.
Protests against Sanjay Leela Bhansali's film Padmavati took a violent turn on Friday, with protesters firing shots in the air and brandishing swords outside the Chittorgarh fort. Activists from different groups alleged that the film had insulted the 16,000 women from other castes who reportedly committed Johar during Alauddin Khilji's invasion.
ये अनिश्चितकालीन धरना 7 दिन तक के लिए लागू किया था। आज हमने सरकार को अल्टीमेटम दिया था 16 तारीख तक वो कोई निर्णय करेंगे, लेकिन सरकार की तरफ से हमें एक भी कोई आश्वासन अभी तक आया नहीं है। उसी धरने के अंतर्गत आज हम लोग सब मिलकर पाटन पोल का फर्स्ट गेट हमने बंद किया है।
Rajput organizations called for a nationwide ban on the 1st of December on the day of the film's release. Members of the film fraternity also urged protesters to watch the film before its release.
संजय लीला बंसाली साहब ने कहा कि मैं फिल्म दिखाने को तैयार हूं और उन्होंने सेंसर बोर्ड को भी इस बात को लिखा है कि मैं परमिशन चाहता हूं कि जिस समाज को ये महसूस हो रहा है कि उसकी भावनाएं आहत हुई हैं तो उनको फिल्म दिखाने के लिए वो तैयार हो गए हैं।
Actor Deepika Padukone was given special security after a Rajput fringe group threatened her with physical harm. Security has also been tightened outside director Sanjay Leela Bhansali's residence in Mumbai. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Let's now get to a roundup of some of the news from across the country in Nationwide. The National Green Tribunal refused to interfere with environment clearance granted to Andhra Pradesh capital Amravati. The panel formed 2 committees, a supervisory committee and an implementation committee to monitor work on the project site. It also asked the state government not to carry out any operation to clear the land falling in the project area without obtaining environmental clearances for the project. Well, the Sri Lankan Navy today arrested 10 Tamil Nadu fishermen who were allegedly fishing near Neduntivu. The arrested fishermen will be lodged in the naval camp and produced in a court. Kashmiri footballer Majid Arshid, who joined Lashkar-e-Toiba today, surrendered at a security camp and surrendered with his arms and ammunition. He was later taken to an undisclosed destination. The police are constantly in touch with his friends and family members, urging them to put pressure on Arshid to return home. Well, Zimbabwe's President Robert Mugabe made his first public appearance on Friday, 2 days after the country's army seized power from him. Mugabe attended a graduation ceremony in the capital, Harare. His wife Grace Mugabe and her close allies were not seen with the president. News reports suggest that the military is engaging in talks with Mugabe to step down and make way for a smooth transition. Reports also claim that Mugabe's ruling party is making plans to force him out of office if he resists pressure from the army to quit. Here's a roundup of some other news from around the world in Global Buzz. The UN General Assembly and the Security Council will meet on Monday for a new round of voting for the last seat at the International Court of Justice after the battle between India and UK remained deadlocked. India's nominee Dalveer Bhandari and Britain's Christopher Greenwood are seeking re-election at the Hague-based ICJ, where 11 rounds of elections were unable to yield any result. A Sri Lankan court summoned a Sri Lankan army commander over the disappearance of 24 Tamils who they are arrested in 1996 during the internal conflict with the LTTE. The Jaffna High Court asked Army Chief Lieutenant General Mahesh Senanayake and 2 other state officials to appear in court on Saturday. Parents and relatives of the 24 missing people have filed a case. Airstrikes today targeted Islamic State positions in the eastern city of Bukamal. The Syrian Air Force launched intense airstrikes on its supply routes that killed 6 IS militants and destroyed their weaponry. According to reports, IS militants were holding civilians as human shields. Well, some sports news now, where heavy rain washed out the second day of play in the first test match between India and Sri Lanka at Kolkata's Eden Gardens. The first day saw India reeling at 17 for 3 at stumps. Day 2 proved to be no better for the hosts, who lost 2 more wickets. Lankans were right on top from the beginning, with Ajinkya Rahane and R. Ashwin scoring only 4 runs each before getting out. Dasun Shanaka took both wickets of Rahane and Ashwin. The pitch also favoured the bowlers as the visitors focused on line and length, giving no chance to the Indian batsmen to score runs. Cheteshwar Pujara displayed good defensive technique, picking only loose deliveries to score an unbeaten 47, taking India to 74 for 5. Well, here's a roundup now of some other news from the world of sports in SportsBeat. Indian shuttler PV Sindhu entered the quarterfinals of the China Open Super Series badminton tournament. Second-seeded Sindhu defeated her Chinese opponent Yu Han 21-15, 21-13 in a 40-minute long game. Sindhu is the lone Indian player in the tournament after Saina Nehwal and HS Pranoy crashed out in the second round. The International Cricket Council banned Pakistan's off-spinner Mohammad Hafiz from bowling in international cricket with immediate effect. The ICC decided that his bowling action was illegal in the third ODI against Sri Lanka last month. It added that majority of his deliveries exceeded the 15-degree level of tolerance permitted. Jack Sock became the first American to reach the last 4 of the ATP finals in the last 10 years. Sock defeated world number 3 Alexander Zverev 6-4, 1-6, 6-4. In another match, Switzerland's Roger Federer defeated Croatia's Marin Cilic to post a perfect round-robin record for a 10th time. Tennis star Serena Williams and Reddit co-founder Alexis Ohanian were married in a ceremony in New Orleans. The two have been dating since 2015. Serena gave birth to their child in September last year. Many celebrities attended their wedding ceremony, including Kim Kardashian, British journalist Anna Wintour, Venus Williams and singer Beyonce. And before we end the bulletin, higher reaches of Himachal and Kashmir today received the season's first snowfall, bringing down temperatures to -3 degrees Celsius. Peaks of Gulmarg recorded 3 inches of snowfall. Sonmarg and adjoining areas in central Kashmir's Gandarbal also witnessed snowfall. We leave you with these visuals of snowfall. Enjoy.